This program was brought to you by Organo Gold. Organo Gold is a health and wellness company that provides healthy coffees, teas, and chocolate. All one has to do is consume the available products to get all the available benefits. One can also share these products with others to help them improve their health as well. For more information, call 703-359-5642 or visit the website basillemba.com.
And now, Fairfax Breakfast Club with your host, Basil Lemba.
Welcome to the Fairfax Breakfast Club show. My name is Basil Lemba and I will be your host. The Fairfax Breakfast Club is a weekly program in which we bring to you valuable and workable know-how you can use to improve your networking skills and grow your business. We always start the show with a quote. And today's quote is, "Accounting was the course that helped me more than anything." That is from Julian Robertson. With us today in the studio, we have somebody who owns an accounting company, and his name is Arun Sareen. Hello, Arun.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you for having me on your show.
My pleasure.
And it's interesting that you thought accounting was a good thing to put on the TV for the people.
Uh-huh.
I know a lot of people either dream of going into business, they go into business, or they fail in business. Doesn't matter what you look at or how you look at it, if you are not on top of your numbers, you will drown. Right?
Okay.
So that's why for small businesses especially, it is very critical to be on top of your numbers.
Okay. Absolutely.
And that's what accounting does.
How do you help small businesses then?
How do we-
is there an area that is specialized, or how do you go about it? Yeah.
How do we go about it? Well, the things with small businesses is that most of them, they might know their business. Doesn't matter if it's a plumber, a carpenter, a construction company, a restaurant, a chef, a bakery, a tattoo parlor, whatever the business, right? They know their business. What they don't know is, or they don't have a good sense of, is their numbers. So we look at the business, we customize the accounting system to their needs. And the problem is a lot of small business owners don't even know what they need. All they know is how to fill their taxes at the end of the year, because otherwise they'll get a notice. Right? But in owning a small business, there's a lot of little taxes. There's business license tax, personal property tax. If you have employees, you have Social Security, Medicare, federal tax, state unemployment tax. Then you have sales tax, meals tax. So there's so many different taxes. And a lot of people don't realize how important any one of them is. And as a group, they're very critical, and they can kill a business. And the penalties on them and the interest. A lot of government agencies don't jump on you when you are initially late. They jump on you with the penalties and interest. Obviously, if you didn't have the financial ability to pay your taxes, how are you going to now pay them burdened with the extra penalty and interest? Right? Also in taxes, there's a lot of strategy involved. And you don't get a trophy for paying more to Uncle Sam, right? Yeah. So what happens is, a lot of people don't use the 5 Ps in business, right? In small business, proper planning prevents poor performance. So when you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. I'm sure you heard that.
Yeah.
But basically what happens is on your numbers and your taxes and your accounting, there's a lot of strategy that comes into place. Anybody can do the bookkeeping. Anybody can take your numbers, plug them into a software like Peachtree or QuickBooks, and say, boom, this is what it says. Well, what does that mean? Why am I losing money? Or why is my business not growing? Or you go to an accountant. A lot of small business owners go to the accountant after the whole year is over. And then the accountant gives them the bad news on the taxes. And they're in shock. Were you sleeping all year long? No, you just didn't go to the accountant and see what you were heading into, right? Yeah. So that's when you get killed on taxes. And then you do the accounting for different purposes. You do the accounting for the IRS. You do the accounting for the bankers. You have to look at it from an investor standpoint, and you have to look at it from an owner standpoint. So
what does that mean? That means that you do 3 or 4 types different accounting? Is that what that means?
No.
When you say you do one for the IRS, one for the banker, one for the tax business?
Yeah, no, it's not like we cook the books for different.
I'm not saying you cooked. I'm just trying to find the difference.
Okay, the difference is, let's say you're the business owner, right? You're a small business owner, and typically you're losing money initially a few years. Right? So what you have to do is you have to look at the business from what perspective? One is the cash flow and the bottom line, but also it's not only the bottom line, it is the back end value of your business that you're building. So even on the front end, you're losing money. On the back end, are you growing your goodwill? Are you growing your margins? Are you learning the tricks of the trade? So is the business becoming more valuable? And that's what you really seek for generally in a business, if that's part of your plan. But if you are a single trade person going into a business, really you should be making money from day one. In a plumber, right? Or a professional person giving advice, or an IT guy. You shouldn't be losing money from day one. Also, you have to look at things like, let's say a restaurant or another thing that's opening and investing a lot of money up front. Do you need the tax write-offs initially and show a loss on the books? Or do you want to spread it when your business profits go up? A lot of business owners make the mistake of taking the early write-offs on assets. And that's when the business profit is lowest. And as the business profit grows, they have nothing to write off, right? So nobody is looking at things with foresight. Everybody does it with hindsight. After the fact is over, they'll go to the accountant. After the fact is over, they will pay more in taxes. That's when they've locked themselves into the position, right? But from a business owner's eyes, you are looking at things for the long term. And you can strategize according to that. But if you have bankers, right? Or you have other people's money and you have investors, what are investors looking for? They're looking for return on investment, right? They don't look at the long term because they don't know the inside and how the value is being built off the books. On the books, it's showing a loss. Off the books, it's increasing in value.
So how do you handle investors in that situation?
The books have to be done with the end in mind. What are we doing these books for? And then do we have to footnote those and explain to investors what's going on really, even though on the profit and loss, this is what it's showing.
So that's what you mean the difference between different person you're doing an accounting
That's
for.
right. So you have to talk to them in their language. You talk to the IRS in their language. You talk to the banker in their language.
So you can talk, you personally can talk all these 3 different languages?
Yes, I can take the same numbers and give people different meaning and different picture out of the same set of numbers. Okay?
Just so you know, folks, not talking about cooking the books, just so you know.
Yes. So we're not talking about cooking the books. We are saying that taking the same tests and running different analysis
just
of
a
the same
different
numbers.
interpretation
That's right.
of what is sitting there.
That's right.
Okay.
The banker's interest is reducing his risk and seeing you're going to exist in the long run. IRS's interest is you making the tax returns, filing them legally. However, people that are not too smart and don't have sophisticated or well-experienced CPAs doing the taxes, right? They just plug in the form. Some people go buy a software, a generic thing, go online, fill up the form, and whatever the result is, it is, right? But they are doing a zero strategy for the long term.
Gotcha.
So that's where professional advice does not cost as much as it pays in the long run. But people who have the money and have got burnt a few times appreciate that more than somebody who hasn't done that before, right? Just like in anything else in small business, what happens? You get burnt a few times, and that's how you learn, right? So same thing with the accounting.
Okay.
But you have to, three things have to have in an accounting system for an entrepreneur, not a mom and pop who doesn't know what he's doing with his numbers, but for an experienced person, for him to use the financial statements as a management tool, right?
What are the three things?
Three things. They have to be timely, they have to be meaningful, and they have to be accurate, right? Timely means if I'm giving you the numbers for what happened in your operations last year, you bring me the books, then in March I file an extension, and 6 months more go by, and another September I give you the final numbers with the tax return. As a small business owner, how good is that for you in using it to run your businesses in the past? You can't go back and undo anything in the past, right? Running the business, you're sitting in the driver's seat. If you don't know what's going on, you don't have the proper dashboard. Are you running out of gas? Are you running out? Is the engine heating up? Anything else, right? Same thing with the financial dashboard. If you are not watching it every week or every 2 weeks, right? Or every month, then it becomes a little bit late. The other thing is the financials have to be done customized to your business. If you are a restaurant, let's say, or a food service business, right? You cannot do the books on a calendar month basis. It's crazy. Why? Restaurant runs on a weekly cycle. They have the weekdays and the weekend. Doesn't matter you are in DC or a big city or a small city or a suburbs. They all have their cycles of when they're busy, when they're slow, right? But it's always a weekly cycle.
Gotcha.
All right? Their labor cost is not twice a month, it is bi-weekly. So if you're not doing the books customized for the restaurant on a 4-week period, then boom, some months you are hitting with 3 payrolls rather than 2,
Gotcha.
right? And some months you have 3 weekends rather than 2. And some months you are purchasing on Mondays or Wednesdays or whatever, and you're getting more of those than in another month if you use a calendar basis. So for a restaurant, you do not do books on a calendar month basis. Otherwise, they will not be meaningful for a food service operator.
How do you do the restaurant then?
The restaurant you do on a 4-week period, 13 periods a year. You don't have 12 periods in a restaurant.
Gotcha.
Okay, because of the weekly thing, 13 times 4 is 52, and then a couple of extra days you plug into the 13th period. Okay, otherwise, in the restaurant, there's what's the most important thing? Food cost and labor cost, right? You can't get those right using a calendar month basis.
Gotcha.
Same thing with different businesses, different cycles, right? We do landscape and landscape businesses.
The seasonal.
They're not on a 12-month cycle, because 3 months they're totally dead. So you have to spread their costs over 9 months and make sure. But so timely was one, meaningful is another one. And the third thing is accurate, right? If your numbers are not accurate, you as the business owner can't trust them. What happens then? Then you have a set of books for the IRS. And then you have a set of your own internal numbers you're trying to figure out of what's going on in the business. So you got to make sure all those 3 things are there when you are doing your books and accounting for a small business. It's like a three-legged stool. You remove timely, you remove meaningful, or you remove accurate. Then you're going to fall.
Gotcha.
All right? Okay. So it's very critical for small businesses to have timely, meaningful, accurate financial statements, and then they need to get out of the box once a month and look at the numbers and see what happened. Okay?
Very good. So how did you get into the field of accounting yourself?
Oh, how did I get into the field of accounting?
Yeah.
I had no desire to be an accountant. I didn't even know what accounting was.
What went wrong?
When I came to this country, I was studying economics in India. But the first job I got, or actually the third job I got, was of an office clerk, where they put me into doing accounting, adding checks and deposits and everything else. And they said, oh, I had a good knack for it. So they promoted me, and they promoted me. And they said, oh, you're an accountant. I said, I'm not an accountant. I know.
They say you're anointed as an accountant right here, right now.
Right. So anyway, so by getting promoted in that field, then I said, oh, I better go to school and learn some accounting.
Before something happened?
Before something happens. So I said, okay, since everybody thinks I'm a good accountant, let me become better at it.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how I became an accountant.
Okay.
But I was more interested in audit, and I did internal auditing. I was an intern in internal auditing for Giant Foods.
Okay.
And then I became an internal auditor for People's Drug Stores. They were around here before it became CVS. And I was the internal audit manager for Entree Computers. And besides doing cost accounting. And then once I retired out of corporate America, I moved to the Caribbean. I moved back to the States, and I wanted to just do small business consulting.
Oh, okay.
And I was going to do it part-time. And instead, now we are doing this full-time. And
Which is better? Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
Is it better to do it full time? Is that what you're saying?
It's cruel. And because business is one of those addictions, right? The more you do, the more you end up doing. And even though you thought you would do it part-time, there's no such thing as part-time in business, right? It's like being part-time married or almost pregnant. There's no such thing.
Meaning it's black and white, you are or you're not?
You are
Oh, you
at
are.
100% or you're not, right? So that's part of business.
Okay. And what is the biggest challenge in your career as an accountant?
What is the biggest challenge in my career?
Yeah, what would you consider the biggest challenge in your career as an accountant?
Okay, it is more not as an accountant, but in helping companies turn around by looking at numbers from a new angle or a new light. Okay, because
Give me an example, please.
give you an example. Okay, we do a lot of corporate turnaround work. Companies
What do you
that
mean by
are,
corporate turnaround work?
companies are losing money. They will hire us as
okay.
consultants, okay? And we will take a percentage of the increase in value,
Oh, okay.
okay? So let's say we have this small contractor doing underground utilities. They were ready to file bankruptcy. We talked to the bank. We
Postpone the bank or the...
they bought 6 months from the bank, not a year. We went in, we looked at the numbers, talked to the teams of crews that were going out in the field, put in incentive plans. They were cutting back on overtime, cutting back on people's hours. And while their money was all stuck in heavy equipment and the loans being paid on those. So we went in, we reorganized the teams, motivated the employees, and let them loose. And we said we will guarantee you will make at least 100,000 more a year. Otherwise, you don't owe us anything. They were losing 100,000 a year.
Okay.
Okay, but we said we'll take 10% of the increase in profits, which was good, which also meant reduction of losses. But that turned that company around, and they became very profitable.
Okay.
Okay, so that was a challenge. Not just once, I've done it multiple times. I also, for keeping my own brain challenged, I buy businesses that are sick or closed down. I fix them up, and then I flip them.
Okay.
So using the
business-
numbers
Go ahead. Yeah.
to turn around the situation is what I love doing best.
Understood.
Okay.
And what is the accomplishment that you're the proudest? What's the accomplishment that you're the most proud of in accounting?
What is well, we've been able to successfully help tons of small businesses because we are one of the few CPA firms that focuses on small businesses. And the other thing is, our goal is the more they grow, the more we grow.
For sure.
So every time a small client grows, we had a client that was doing about $500,000 a year, and they grew the company to over $100 million and sold it. We were glad that we were there from the start till the time in the stages of the growth. We had another client that sold the company for about $25 million. They were with us from day one. Okay? So it makes me, it's like you have children, right? And if you have, I don't know if you have or not, but okay. But if you have children, seeing them grow is a joy for parents. Seeing small businesses grow is a joy for me.
Gotcha.
All right? So I want to see them and help them grow. Not just for my own greed, because it's just fun.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
So that's what we like to do. But we are very different than most other accounting firms.
In what sense?
In what sense? Most accountants have been bean counters all their life. That's what they've done for a living, is accounting. Besides buying 20 other small business accounting firms and tax firms and all, I buy a lot of businesses. Doesn't matter. I bought a trash company, convenience store, gas station, cable TV company, real estate company, engineering company. Right now, I own Fruit Flowers, which is a big franchisor of fruit bouquet businesses. And I like to buy those things to keep myself mentally challenged. But what it does is, by putting myself in the shoes of the operators, hands-on, like I ran a restaurant, a nightclub, pool hall I still own, right? I'm dealing with the day-to-day problems that the small business owner faces.
Gotcha.
So I am an entrepreneur who does accounting rather than most people that do accounting for small business owners. Okay, so I can talk their language. I can teach them the language of running a small business, besides just the number side.
Gotcha. And how do you learn the business in terms, but just by working with them, by being involved in the business, that's how you learn? Because at this stage of the game, you're not just doing accounting, you're doing management.
Management, consulting,
organization and everything else. Okay.
Yeah, but you learn more.
Is that, do your company offer that service as well?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
gotcha.
yes.
Okay. So you're not just at this stage of the game, not only an accounting company, but you're a consulting company.
Right.
Put in general terms,
Right.
doing organization, management, or whatever, even education, as
That
the
is
case may
correct.
be.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So it's, I mean, what you learn from putting yourself in the fire or in the line of fire and dealing with the micro level detail, right? It's a very old saying. If you don't put yourself in the wearer's shoes, you don't know where the problem is, right? If you put your feet in somebody else's shoes, you know where the shoe is going to be. There's a nail coming out, there's a cut, whatever else. Same thing in small business. If you have never run a small business, if you have never taken hands-on headaches of different things in a small business, then you really are filling out forms.
Gotcha.
There's thousands of people out there that can do that. But how many of them can feel your pain and help you solve it looking at the numbers?
Gotcha.
We're the only ones.
Understood. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. I want to communicate a few things over here as we are closing. We host a monthly breakfast event. We'd love to have you there one of these days. It's the third Thursday of the month right here in Fairfax, 3999 University Drive. And also twice a year in May and December, we'll put on an expo. Our next expo will be on December the 6th right here in Fairfax. We'll have about 100 exhibitors, and we're expecting 300 to 400 business people. In fact, we'd love to have you as one of our exhibitors. That give you the opportunity to be surrounded with all these business people and what have you, make the connections, and
that would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good. We'd love the opportunity so people know that our services are available. I know we have not aggressively marketed our services because we get a lot of referrals. But if we can have a free booth there, not a free booth, means free for the public.
Yeah.
And we can have a booth there that people can come in, talk to us, because that would be a great time. With the new year coming around the corner, a lot of people want to start a business.
Absolutely. We'll do just that. I just want to end very rapidly over here. Thank you again for coming out. As for the host, the guests, looking forward to seeing you for our next show. As always, have a productive day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you then.
This program was brought to you by Organo Gold. Organo Gold is a health and wellness company that provides healthy coffees, teas, and chocolate. All one has to do is consume the available products to get all the available benefits. One can also share these products with others to help them improve their health as well. For more information, call 703-359-5642 or visit the website basilemba.com.